There is a part of your anatomy that you probably do not pay a lot of attention to. And in fact, it's one that most of us don't talk about. It turns out it's way more important than we realize, which is why today I am so delighted to be talking with Jana Danielson, who is going to clue us in. And right now you're probably going, okay, so what body part is it? It is our pelvic floor. And so, first of all, Jana, thank you so much for being here.
Mira, thanks for having me. I'm excited about this conversation today.
And I also want to start before we dive in and start talking about the pelvic floor and everything else. I also want to mention that you are the inventor of the CoochBall, which is a little device that helps our pelvic floor. Yeah. And so I can't wait to learn more about that. But can
Yeah.
we start with talking about why we should care about the pelvic floor?
Yeah. I came to this work very organically as I had my own pain journey, which led me to Pilates, which led me to 4 months into my Pilates experience, weaning myself off of 11 medications that I was on in my early 20s. And through that learning experience on getting my Pilates training, learning about the body, I realized some things very quickly. And I was quite frustrated with many of my clients because I would start to talk about the pelvic floor and women would not, they wouldn't make eye contact with me. Nobody would ask questions in class. There would be like these workshops that would be sold out. And I was like, hey, what's going on here? Why are we muted about this part of our body? What is it about? Is it just a lack of knowledge? Is it shame? Is it just we know that it's part of being a woman that eventually we're going to need to have some sort of incontinence product? Like, what is it that's going on? And I think it's all of the above. And so I want to start with a little bit of an energetic fact, an energetic
Oh,
slash spiritual fact. Okay. So the main nerve that runs from our brain to the pelvic floor area in both a woman's and a man's body is called the pudendal nerve. All right. So think about this nerve as an interstate, right? It's an information highway. So it sends messages. And so it's a motor nerve and it's also a sensory nerve, which means that all of the feelings from on the one end of the spectrum, pleasure, to the other end of the spectrum, pain, and everything in between, that nerve also is in charge of. The Latin root of the word pudendal means ashamed. And I
yeah.
don't think that, like that, when I first learned that, I was like, okay, wait a minute, what? And I actually think that a lot of why we don't talk about the pelvic floor as just a muscle, like we could talk about if someone had a frozen shoulder, we would talk about the muscles in and around the shoulder joint. If we had bursitis, we would talk about the muscles in and around the hip, the glutes. But yet no one talks about this. And I actually think that a big reason that is simply because it is rooted in this energy of ashamedness. And it's my mission to connect with women like you in your community to learn. Because once we educate ourselves, we can empower ourselves to do something about it.
Yeah. And I love that you point out that both women and men have pelvic floors, like it is part of human anatomy. And so I guess one of my questions is for women, I'm assuming there is more stress on the pelvic floor, especially for women who have given birth.
Yeah. The pelvic floor. So the pelvis is like if you put your hands on your hips, okay, that's the top of the pelvic bowl. Those are the bones of your pelvis. All right. The pelvic floor sits like a hammock inside, and it's multiple muscles that are slightly dome shaped. And in a woman's body, the pelvic floor holds our pelvic organs inside of us, right? Our bladder, our uterus. It is functional, meaning it stops and it works to stop and start the flow of urine. And when we give birth, the pelvic floor can be impacted. Yes, to all of those. But the pelvic floor is the most anxiety ridden, tension ridden part of our body. And sometimes we don't even realize it, even more so than the head, neck, and shoulders. So we can often feel headaches, jaw tension, that feeling like our eyes are sunk back into our head. That there can be a lot of tension in through the head, neck, and shoulders. But the pelvis and the pelvic floor carries a lot of tension, and how it shows itself sometimes in our body wouldn't even make you connect the dots. So let me just share this is a pelvic floor can be too tight, like a rock, called hypertonic, or it can lactone, hypotonic. And both are dysfunctional. All are dysfunctional. But what a lot of people don't realize is that constipation, cold, tingly feet, bloating, indigestion, chronic tight hips, chronic low back pain, all of that list can actually also be attributed to pelvic floor dysfunction.
Oh, that's amazing. And what are some of the things that people can do to help? Because if we don't have the sensory awareness of it, the
Yeah.
way you the other end of that information highway, what are some of the things that we can do that would be helpful to support our pelvic floor?
So there's three super easy steps. I call them my three B's. All right. Body
Okay.
position, breathing, and blood flow. We're going to talk about those three. Body
Sure.
position. Let's start there. Body position is another way of saying posture. We live in a Zoom world. And even before a Zoom world, we sat a lot for work. We sit to drive, we sit at the dinner table. And for those of you who also sleep on your side with your knees bent, let's think about that. You're also in a seated position, just 90 degrees over, laying down on your bed. So for some of us, we can be in this seated chair position for 20 of our 24 hours, right? And usually when we're in that chair position, what do? We start to hunch forward, our head comes forward, we take space away from our organs, our digestion, our circulation, and we live on a planet with gravity. So that's inevitable unless you understand how to really position yourself against that. So just sitting, if you're listening to us and you're sitting, if you're sitting on a comfy couch, it's harder to feel. But if you're sitting on a harder surface, you want to feel those bony butt bones on the surface of your chair. Okay. Those bony butt bones, when you're sitting, essentially become your feet. So you want to be standing up tall on your feet instead of slumping down. Do you see the difference in the height of my body? And I could literally be sitting, I'm still sitting, but look at the difference in even how my entire body shows up when I have proper posture. Now, here's the thing. When you have proper posture, you have space for the organs to do their job, including blood flow, which means that dull look to our skin that we get. We think we're aging or we've just got a busy schedule. That's blood flow. Blood flow is energy, it's vitality. And when we take it away with posture, it impacts the pelvic floor in a major way. Because if I'm here
Mm.
versus if I'm slumped down, those muscles are doing very different jobs. When I'm here, my pelvic floor is on a permanent vacation. It doesn't have to hold any part of my body because the chair is holding me. But when I come here and I use my bones to sit nice and tall, now my pelvic floor is like, oh, she wants me to be in this upright hammock-like position, doing my job, holding these organs up. And it's like sending it a memo like, dear pelvic floor, I know you've been on a holiday for the past 5 years. Guess what? The holiday's over. Here's your job. So that's the number one thing. When you're sitting, sit beautifully nice and tall. Imagine there's a headrest behind you. Your head comes back on that. When you're standing, the recipe is 60-40. 60% of your weight back in your big heel bone called your calcaneus, 40% of your weight across the widest part of your foot in your metatarsals, not the toe pads, but the widest part of your foot. If you can remember those three things, sitting up on those bony butt bones, 60% of your weight on your heels and 40% across the widest part of your foot, your posture game is going to absolutely change and your pelvic floor is going to start to respond in a positive way.
And you'll have better balance.
You have better balance. Your body looks different when you have better posture. It actually gives your metabolism a spike because now your muscles are actually holding the bones where they should be. And guess what? It takes energy to do that. So your metabolism is going to get a little spike.
Oh, there you go. That's nice. Now you said the second thing though is breathing. So
Breathing.
what do we
Yeah.
do for that?
Let's chat about that. Breathing is simple. We, as young women, I believe as we go through our teenage years, we forget how to breathe. Joseph Pilates, who was the founder of the system of Pilates, one of my favorite quotes from him is, breath is the first and the last act of life. And somewhere in the middle, we forget how to do it. And he is absolutely right. So our restrictive clothing, our poor posture, our lack of hydration, not as optimal nutrition, it brings us to really start to be breathing with muscles in our neck that are called the scalenes and the sternocleidomastoids. Now, these muscles are like little beef jerky strips, right? Whereas our diaphragm sits I'm going to just change my camera angle. Our diaphragm sits here in the crest of the rib cage. It's a beautiful mushroom cap shaped muscle. It's like an open umbrella. It's huge. And when we don't use it, the diaphragm, like any other muscle that is not used, it starts to atrophy, which means it starts to die. It starts to shrink because it doesn't have a job. So now these little muscles in our neck, which also hold up our head, are become our main breathers. We get the neck tension, the jaw tension. We can't wait for our next massage because we have all this neck tension only to experience it 3 or 4 days later because we're actually habitually breathing from the wrong part of our body.
Mm.
When you place one hand on this flat bone called your sternum and one hand on your belly button, and when you breathe completely in through your nose and fill your bottom palm with air, and on the exhale, you imagine pulling your belly button away from your bottom palm. So the top hand is a placeholder. The top hand doesn't move. If your top hand is moving, it means you're one of my little goldfish and you're breathing with your gill muscles. And I want you
I
to
love that
start,
goldfish.
right? We're all like little goldfish. We're breathing with gills and we have attention spans of 7 seconds, right? So this top hand is just not moving. It shouldn't be moving. The bottom hand is what's moving, like one of those old bellows starting the fire in the fireplace. That's when we start to breathe diaphragmatically. Your mushroom cap muscle will start to move. And guess what, ladies? The pelvic floor is the floor of our core. The diaphragm is the roof. So when the diaphragm starts to float through your breathing process, the pelvic floor is going to start to respond. So we can improve pelvic floor health simply by breathing 2 or 3 times a day, taking a little break, hands on belly button and sternum, in through your nose, out through your mouth. At the same time, you're giving your parasympathetic nervous system a huge hug. That's the rest and digest part of our nervous system. So if you're really amped up one day, you're just really in this tornado space, diaphragmatic breathing can just check the box for your wellness on so many levels. So body position, number 1, breathing, number 2.
And then you said number 3 is blood flow.
Number 3 is blood flow. Like a plant, our muscles, so a plant cannot thrive without sunlight and water. Yes, it might need a little bit of fertilizer, but at the very basic, its needs are sunlight and water. Our muscles are like that too, but it's sunlight and water for sure for us as well, but it's also blood flow that has nutrients and oxygen. So nutrient rich, oxygen rich blood will bring vitality to our body. Again, because we live on a planet with gravity, blood can pool in the extremities, the hands and the feet. The pelvic floor can almost always be lacking in blood flow. Simple breathing exercises, although they get the pelvic floor to start to move, your Kegels will start to get your pelvic floor to move. It can't bring that oxygen rich, nutrient rich blood to the surface. How did I learn all this? I was working about 15 years ago with a urogynecologist in the US, and his research showed that when these muscles have blood, this pelvic floor of this bowl, the pelvic floor muscles work along with your inner thighs, your glute med muscles, and your deepest abdominals called your transverse abs. When we can get healthy blood flow to the pelvic floor, then the neural network in our brain can start to change and the function can start to improve. And it was the third B that I became very frustrated about, because my Pilates studio, I could do nothing about the blood flow. I could send women to pelvic floor physiotherapy, which I'm a huge proponent of, to get that blood flow going. And that's why you mentioned the CoochBall at the beginning. That was my big why for creating a fitness tool that women could take with them anywhere to use for 3 minutes a day to bring that healthy blood flow to the area. And when that happens, it's magical how we can improve the quality of the wellness of our pelvic floor.
And one of the things, because I have one, and I It's so interesting to me in the beginning when I first tried it, it was maybe not, but I stuck with it because you promised me that if I did, it would get better. And it did get better. It's interesting how it got a little bit more comfortable. Can you talk about the
Yeah.
mechanism of how sitting on that ball
Yeah.
supports your body?
For sure. So again, I'll just give the visual. So here it is. We fill it up so it has a little bit of squish to it, and that's important. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, Mira, we're going to touch on the ouch factor that you experience, but the mechanism truly is the weight of the body on the ball, and the ball is actually patented. There's a special lining inside the ball that makes it 100% appropriate for the weight of our body, right? It's not a yes, you can play dodgeball with it and stuff like that, but it really is meant to be sat on because it holds its structure in a really important way. So there's this connective tissue that surrounds every single fiber of muscle we have, and it's called fascia. Fascia is like a plastic grocery bag that wraps every muscle fiber. So a muscle is like an elastic band that stretches, but it's like the hot dog with the hot dog bun, and the hot dog bun is really tight around the muscle. When we don't have healthy blood flow, that fascia will start to stick to that muscle like the stickiest Velcro you've ever had.
Hmm.
Muscle and fascia in a healthy body should glide like a little kid going down a water slide. So the problem is this fascia starts to adhere and stick. And blood flow is like knocking at the door, but it can't get in.
Hmm.
When you sit on your cooch ball, and some women have to start with 15 seconds. We work up to 3 minutes, but sometimes that ouch factor is so intense that we have to start really slow. The weight of the body on the ball creates the release of the fascia. It starts to melt, and it starts to allow these little tributaries of blood to come to the muscle. And the muscle is like taking this great, big, beautiful breath, like, where have you been? And it starts to take in this nourishment. And then that pudendal nerve we talked about can do its job and send the message from the brain when the muscle should work and when the muscle should rest. Because we know in the body, muscles do both. They should rest and they should work. And they need to know when to do that. So that's it. That is how simple this mechanism is. You sit on it. As long as you can breathe diaphragmatically, which we just did a few minutes ago, your breath is your guide, you're golden. If your breath is erratic, maybe you need to take this ball instead of sitting on your hard kitchen chair. Maybe you need to go sit on your bed or sit on your couch. So it takes a little bit of the brunt of the ball away. But what you experience, Mira, with the ouch factor is very common. It's normal, and it's a direct relationship to the health of those muscles in our body. So the reason you started feeling less and less was exactly the blood flow started coming to that area. You were breathing through it. It was getting healthier. And that's what we want, is we want that ouch factor not to be a deterrent, but to be like the odometer or the speedometer in our car. It tells us something.
Sure.
And the more connected we can be to our body, the more beautiful that relationship becomes. And that's how we really, truly bust through all those myths of, oh, I just had a baby, so I should be peeing my pants. Oh, I'm in menopause, I should be wearing incontinence pads because that's what I'm told.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that way.
And so, great question, actually, that brings up, when is an appropriate time in life for people to start using a cooch ball?
So here is the truth with the cooch ball. I have had moms buy cooch balls for their 10 and 11-year-old sons and daughters that are they're still wetting the bed. They want to go to their friend's house for sleepovers in the worst way, but their pelvic floor, like everybody has one.
Yeah.
Our kids are sitting more, they're on their tech. We're seeing pelvic floor issues in younger people.
Wow.
Like now more than we ever have because of how our society has changed. So like I have 3 boys, they're 18, 20, 22. They've been on the cooch ball's 3 years old. They've been on their cooch ball, and I have it co-branded for guys as the cooch ball, but they're golfers and they're hockey players. So my boys will come home, they'll sit on the ball, they'll do a hip release. If their shoulders are tight, they'll use it behind their shoulder.
Oh, that's a great idea. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Even I use it here. I have it here. I usually put it between my knees to help with my alignment, or I'll put it behind me to remind me to sit up. So we start teaching people that it is a one-trick pony, but there's so much more that you can do with it. So literally everybody, I've had women and men in their 90s It's great for men post prostate cancer. My husband swears that he can get 20 yards further off the tee with his golf game when he uses because his hips get so tight. It really is one of those. My vision is just like everyone has a toothbrush in their bathroom to brush their teeth twice a day.
For
I
everybody
want
who has
every
them.
household to have a cooch ball because it brings wellness to an area that is, like you said at the beginning of our conversation, it's just underappreciated and we don't pay any attention to it until there's an issue.
Problem. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. This has been so fascinating. Like a lot of great information. And I love that you share there are like three simple things that you can do to support your body in general. And then you layer in by adding in the ball. That's great. If someone, first of all, I will get a link from you. So make sure that I'll put a link
Yes.
down below so everybody can
Yes.
get a ball. But if someone wanted to connect with you and learn more about you or what you do, how would they do that?
Yeah. So you can head over to CoochBall.com. That's the website, or on Instagram, on TikTok, or on Pinterest. I'm just launching my new YouTube channel. So you can always direct message me through Instagram. And you know what I'm going to do, Mira? I'm going to actually do something special for your community. So don't go to the website to get the ball.
Okay.
Mira said she have a link here. Use this link because what I'm going to do, which you cannot get on the website, I'm going to bundle together the Cooch ball. So you get the Cooch ball, you get your pump, you get your basic educational materials, how to fill it up, how to sit on it, how to breathe. But I'm going to add something to the bundle. Like I said, you can't get on my website, called the Cooch Fix Pack Mini. It's a 3-part course, half an hour sessions with me. And I'm going to show you how to use your Cooch ball for upper body health, get rid of those aches and pains in your neck. I do a little bit on the face for anti-aging. There's one session that's lower body. So we're going to deal with sciatica, that the cellulite that kind of sets in on the sides of the hips. We're going to do some work with the calves, knee health. And then the third part of that Fix Pack Mini is we're going to use this for gut health. I'm going to show you how to use your Cooch ball to help with bloating, constipation. So use Mira's link so that you get the ball plus the extra piece that I'm going to add on for you.
That's incredibly generous. Thank you. And I am so excited to see that. I think I love that it's a multi-purpose tool because in the kitchen, for example, I really hate things that only do one thing because I have a small kitchen, so they need to be able to do everything. So I love that this little ball can actually do a lot of other things as well. That's great. So I cannot wait to see what you have. And this has been a wonderful interview. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. And it's very clear that you are passionate about this underserved area of the body. And hopefully, the more we get the word out, the less underserved and underacknowledged it will be.
Mm. Thank you, Mira.
Yeah, absolutely. So, folks, don't forget to subscribe. Click that button down below and then check out that link because Jana's going to give us a very special gift, her Cooch Fix Pack mini class for free. So let's make sure we take advantage of that. And in all that you do, make sure that you make it a healthy day. Bye now.